cool.
Did you get a chance to research it at all or no?
I mean, it's really it's more of like a discussion topic than something you could pull like factual evidence about.
No, that's facts. So, I mean, honestly, first thing when I Googled it, it says privacy refers to your personal boundaries about your history, thoughts, opinions, and experiences separate from your partner in relationship. Secrecy, on the other hand, involves something that you are intentionally hiding from your partner. But I mean, me personally, I feel like those lines are a little bit blurred nowadays due to social media and everything that's going on. I don't know, man. I feel like social media plays a lot when it comes to pushing boundaries with significant others.
It's almost like
But
it's easier to get away with things with social media. Like the deception behind it is like almost a lot easier to do when you're behind a computer or a phone.
yeah,
Um, I feel like with it being so much gray area, it's almost like the intention is what separates them. Like privacy, you don't want to, you have your own personal boundaries, but like secrecy is like intentionally hiding something, because you're like afraid of consequence or something.
yeah, yeah. But I low key feel like some people use it as an excuse, like to keep things secret. It's like if they have not even necessarily if they don't have pure intentions, but if they have maybe, I don't know, a double life, or they're not 100% committed to the other person, or not, or they in their minds they know that they're not loyal to that other person to some degree. It may not even be necessarily cheating with another person, but they're just like not 100% on the same page with them. I feel like they can use that excuse as like, oh, or let's say like you're introducing just something simple, like you're introducing them to your friends or something like that. um they'll be like, oh, like, why didn't you introduce me to such and such? They'll be like, oh, I don't want him in my business type shit, blah, blah, blah. It's like they'll kind of use that as a front to keep things secret, but be like, oh, nah, I don't want him in my business. That's our business. That's private, shit like that. Like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people use it as excuses,
Yeah, it's
personally.
why wouldn't they introduce them to that person though? Like that's
Mm-hmm.
that's what's going to be at least in your partner's head is like why, and then you
Yeah.
give them the excuse of I don't want them in our business, but it's like, but visually they're in our business. You know what I'm saying? Like they
Yeah.
can see us, but it's more of like on a get to know like personal level. It's like why wouldn't you to introduce me? You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
it's almost like there's a hidden consequence there that you're running from almost, and
Yeah.
then you're covering up with privacy. It's
Yeah. But then again, it's like I also feel like there's a lot of different variables. Like there could be a mutual understanding of, oh, but like hell, y'all both could be on some shicey type time. Like y'all both could
yeah,
be like, nah, we private for real. Like, but then it's like whole time y'all just using that privacy term as a front for just keeping each other secret type shit. Or it could be a mutual understanding where, I mean, I've had it in a personal instance where we weren't really trying to make things like public, so to speak, but they were just like, well, I mean, PDA, it was cool or whatever, but like not around the peer group that we're regularly around.
yeah,
Like we could be at the store, where we're seeing random people. That's cool. We'll hold hands. We'll do whatever we do. Of course, behind closed doors, we do what we do. But like when we're around that group of people that we're normally around, that we are associated with, in my instance, the skate community, people love to talk. They love to talk. So it's like people are like, oh, in the skating rink, we are like we're not a thing, pretty much. Like we just so that we can not have our business talked about, blah blah. In my personal opinion, folks gonna talk about you regardless.
exactly.
But it could be a mutual agreement to where you're like, we're not gonna display too much in front of our regular peer group. But then again, I feel like it's also different as far as mindsets go versus a person who is like a person would have a different definition of privacy versus secrecy if they were like a hoe versus
Yeah.
like versus being a person with good morals. Because I feel like a person that's like, I don't know, going through their hoe phase or whatever, they'll be like, oh, I'm keeping everything private. I don't want nobody. I'm talking in a female's voice. I apologize. Like I mean, shoot, niggas do it too. Like we be like, nah, I wish Shorty would tell my business, because you know
Yeah.
they're trying to keep it low key,
Yeah.
or keep it on the DL. I don't know if people still say that, because you know I'm kind of
On the down low.
yeah, I'm kind of out the loop, but goddamn, they be it. But versus a person with like good, I guess, better morals and standards, who is more mature with their way of thinking, like, oh, I know what I want, and they know that if they're talking to someone, they're gonna be dedicated to them. So it's not really much of an issue to keep things private versus secret. So they're not necessarily. I don't feel like they'd be too pressed about it.
Well, that's so in the broad aspect where it's mainly like the keeping the relationship private or keeping the relationship secret, or is it being private within a relationship or keeping secrets within a relationship? I mean, I feel like for either one, you know, people are going to have their reasons. You know, keeping the relationship private, they don't want people in their business. I feel like keeping it a secret, I feel like that is where a lot of the gray area comes. You know, it could go either way. When, you know, being private about something is one thing, but keeping secrets and you know, disguising it with privacy is because you want to do other things, or you want to live another life, or you don't want, you know, you don't want your hoes to know. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like those are all like malintentions, you know, when it comes to figuring out what part of that spectrum you're really on. And
do you feel like there are any good intentions for keeping things private or secret?
I mean, I definitely feel like when you're on that keeping things private aspect, you know, when you're trying to keep people out of your business, I feel like you could do that with good intentions.
Yeah.
But in that aspect though as well, like it's like, what are you keeping private and who are you keeping things private from? That's and facts. Why, you know?
That's facts.
Yeah. I feel like you could, like, you don't, if you want to separate yourself from groups of people, or you don't want certain groups of people coming in your life, you could definitely, you know, I don't want to, you know, I don't want you knowing about my relationship, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm kind of trying to distance my personal life from the group I'm trying to escape from, but like, still trying to live like that secretive life. Like, I'm single and when I'm with my friends, but I have a girl at home, you know what I'm saying? I feel like you're doing that with very malintentions, which can be taken, you know, as keeping it secret for doing wrong, you know?
Yeah. So okay, so let's narrow it down to dealing with the peer group that you're normally around, be it, you know, your friends at like social events, or if it's like a regular group of people that you go out with or anything like that. So let's keep it there. So in your let's go bar for bar. In your opinion, what is keeping things private in regards to your relationship and being with your group, you know, your peer group?
Okay, for instance, like for a friend group, say instance, let me think, because I could use it like, well, would work count as like a friend?
It can. Because I mean, you be having like leisure conversations with your coworkers quite often. So, well,
if you know, like my coworkers that, you know, have no reason in being in my personal life, you know, like just, you know what I'm saying? It's because it's I just want to keep that boundary, I guess, you know, like that boundary between you knowing too much and knowing enough about me in general, you know. Facts. I feel like a relationship is something that you can hold on that side of a personal boundary. Okay. you know, if I'm around a friend group, for instance, you brought up the skating community, you know, if I'm going to skate every Friday, you know what I'm saying? Only the people I'm closer to would have access to that information, you know, because you never really know who everybody's talking to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's more for me at least, it would be more about people needing to know information, keeping people on a need to know basis, you know,
Okay.
about just personal aspects of my life in general, you know.
Okay. Okay. So like, if so, I assume it wouldn't be a problem for them knowing that you are in a relationship. So like,
Mhm.
as far as the frequency that you bring up things that happen going on between you and your partner, like how often do you feel is too often? How often do you feel is like not, like, do you feel like there is a not enough, like not often enough, or
in in regards to like talking about your partner with
yeah.
that group of people,
Mm-hmm.
um
I mean, it ain't even got to be no like deep subject, just like bringing them up, like talking about, oh, like we did something goofy, like
yeah.
tripping down the hallway or something like that, you know, like
Yeah. um I feel like I don't want to say not bringing up your partner at all is a problem, you know what I'm saying?
okay.
Because some people feel differently about having that boundary, like you know, but if you know, if it was a case where, for instance, we went skating together, you
Right.
know, and nobody knew who she was, and then like I guess that I guess it would all like wrap back around to what you're doing and why you're not telling, and why you're not bringing them up, you know. Say you're at a skating rink and there's just constant like females on you, and that's why you don't bring it up, you know what I'm saying? Well
Mm-hmm.
then now we
Yeah,
understand, you
yeah,
know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
That's
Now
big
we
red
understand
flags.
why.
That's
but
big red flags.
but as in regards, I feel like it's personal discretion. I
Okay.
mean, how let me think. How would you feel about like what do you think is too much? Like in regards to if say me and you are going skating,
Mm-hmm.
do you want to hear about my relationship 24/7?
Shit, nigga. Hell nah, but but I mean, see, I don't know. See, I'm different. Like, if I were to be in a relationship, shit, y'all gonna hear about my show. Y'all don't give a fuck, nigga. Like, I'm the type who I'm very like, if is, you know, if it's healthy, shit's moving good. Like, I'm not gonna air my business out, but like, I'll be talking about it. So I ain't even gonna
Yeah.
lie, because I've been in the situation before where, you know, I was in a relationship. People knew that I was in a relationship. And anytime I was asked, like, majority, I mean, as you know, being in a relationship, you become one with that other person. The majority of
Mm-hmm.
your life, you don't necessarily have single experiences anymore. Like, unless you're at work or some shit, like everything you do is pretty much with your partner. Well, I mean, it also depends on the type of relationship you have, but
Yeah.
like for the most part, you're gonna be with your significant other. So a lot of my stories, anything that people ask me about, is 9 times out of 10 she's gonna be brought up anyway.
Yeah.
So for me, I just shoot, I don't know. It's like, it's not that I take advantage of the opportunity to talk about her, but I'm very happy to talk about her. So for me personally, it would probably be my significant other would be, Jesus Christ, my significant other would be brought up more, more often than not.
Well, okay, let me ask you this then. So say for instance, right? You're around your normal group that you're usually around, and then like there's newbies, like people you've never really seen before and everything. I mean, of course, if I guess if you are very open about your relationship, then I mean it wouldn't be a problem. But for somebody, if you like put yourself in somebody's shoes who doesn't like a lot of their personal business being out there around people they're not comfortable with yet, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
How would you feel about, would you feel it being an issue that they're not as open around those newer faces?
Oh no, definitely not. Because I know me, um, I would never want to even chance divulging any type of information that might make my significant other uncomfortable with other people knowing. So it's like, of course, I'm gonna use that discretion. I mean, I'm gonna use that discretion regardless, because I mean, don't nobody need to know all of, you know, that's my shorty. It's not it's not
Yeah.
yours. Like you don't need to be knowing the stuff that I know. So I definitely feel like there are levels to it. But and also there's levels to the information that I would let out, of course. But overall speaking, I feel like it would just be generalistic things like I said, like telling stories. But as far as like I don't know things going on, honestly, peers like they wouldn't even know things going on. Like whether I had to go to the, I mean, shoot, they wouldn't even know things going on about me. Honestly, like they
Yeah.
wouldn't even know if I had to go to the doctor or if I was, I don't know, late on a car payment or anything like that. But they would know generalistic things that
Gotcha.
like shoot, I mean, public records is enough for me. Y'all can y'all can look that up
Yeah.
online, and that's as personal as I would go as far as um things, keeping things private.
Okay. So in the sense of like like a general group, let's how would you feel about your own personal boundaries and privacy within the relationship? When does when does being private about something become holding a secret within the bond of you and your significant other? You know,
You
when
talking
does
about like behind closed doors, or
yeah, like so with a group of friends, you know, that general discussion, you know what I'm saying? That's because they're outside the home. Now inside the home, when does being private about something become being secretive or within the relationship?
I feel like that is a very tedious question because in a relationship, it's hard. I feel like the difference between private and secret is kind of hard because I don't feel like there is a secret. I don't feel like secrets exist in relationships. I mean, there are things that aren't necessarily known, I guess. Like you don't necessarily, I mean, I don't know, there might be little weird quirks that you do that
Yeah.
like you don't want her to know about. Like you twitch your left butt cheek every now and then, like that type stuff. Like you don't just go out and throw that information out there. They might pick up on it. They be like, it's type
Yeah.
shit. But
Yeah.
I don't feel like that. But other than that, I personally don't feel like there are secrets in a relationship, in a healthy relationship. But privacy, yeah, I mean, I feel like privacy and respect go hand in hand because it's not necessarily, oh, I'm being private touch it. No, like you're a human being too. Like you need to take care of your needs. I'm gonna take care of mine. Shoot, I'm not ever going to like bust in on your privacy and make you like. I feel like privacy, respect, and insecurities all go together in
Okay.
that aspect of things. So I feel like once you kind of learn your partner in that level, I feel like that's when it'll kind of make more sense. But yeah, personally, I don't feel like secrets really exist or
Well,
should exist.
well then let me ask you this then. Time, we're not an exact time frame, you know,
Mm.
but when is in the relationship, you know, since the relationship there shouldn't be any secrets, you know, should it be open from the jump? Should you automatically open up, like you said, insecurities
Oh
and
hell
go
no.
hand in hand with being private? You know, should those be things that are open from the jump, or what type of time frame would you say is would take those things that you're being private about, and you know, if I'm private about something for so long, does that make it a secret because I've withheld that information for so long? Like,
I don't feel like. I mean, that's kind of tough to say honestly because I feel like it's dependent on who you're getting to know and your purpose for getting to know them and also like what type of time they on because nowadays it is a trend to be like, oh, I'm not looking for a relationship. Everybody and their mama says that, and I'm
mm,
just like, who is, honestly at this point? Like I don't feel like anybody's really, unless you like they looking for like, oh, you gonna marry me type time. Like I don't feel like anybody's really looking for, because everybody's scared. Like everybody's scared, everybody's scarred. They see all this Justin Layboy posts on, and it's all this toxic stuff that
Yeah.
like that's going around. I don't feel like anybody's genuinely like feels comfortable. I mean, unless you're like you know yourself and you're mature enough to know how to leave red flags alone and things like that. But I mean, I feel like if you get to know them a healthy amount, you spend a healthy amount of time with them. I feel like once you get to the point where you feel like you're comfortable being yourself around them without being judged, I feel like that is a time to where you can start letting them in on certain things, like not necessarily just open it up to them, but I feel like you can kind of test the waters. Maybe let them know one insecurity, or I mean, if they don't already pick up on it, if y'all are a match made in heaven, they should be able to pick up on your shit at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, just I yeah, that's real tedious, honestly. I would say, shoot, are we giving it like timeline? Like, are we throwing out months out there? Are
Not
we
not necessarily. Here, well, let me piggyback off of that question, and let's kind of flip the roles a little bit.
okay?
Say for instance, because you brought up a lot of people nowadays are scared of relationships. They've been hurt so many times. You know what I'm saying? That puts a lot of walls and causes people to have a lot of boundaries when it comes to expressing themselves and opening up to their partner. Say for instance, you come into the relationship and you're very open. You know what I'm saying? You don't have a lot of privacy boundaries. You don't have a lot of secrets. You're pretty much open book. But your partner, you know what I'm saying, say for instance she has, been through hell and back. You know what I'm saying? She has a lot of walls up. She's very private about her life. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't
Mm-hmm.
really let you in, like, in regards to not necessarily the time frame of you being open, but how long in a relationship would you expect to to not see those walls up? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like would that be a red flag in a sense? Is your partner not being open with you about a lot of things? Would you feel that they're holding a lot of secrets, or just that they have a lot of boundaries because of being hurt so many times? That was a good. That was some
He
nice
feels some type
input.
of way on that one. But me honestly, um, I feel like because the majority of people have been hurt nowadays, depending on whatever circumstances they've been through. But I feel like if a person is truly mature, then they if you're talking to someone and you're getting to know them, you know that they have feelings for you. You have feelings for them. And you're making them battle to get your walls, like to for you to bring that wall down. Like I I feel like that is a red flag if they leave it up and make you work for that OD, because you can be like, "Oh, I'm hurt." You can only use that as an excuse for so long. And if there comes a point in time where you're hindering that relationship by keeping those walls up, by making I feel like it's not. I feel like it's a little inhumane to not reciprocate after a certain point, because at that point it would be, you're not reciprocating the energy. You're making me put in all the work. You're making it harder than it necessarily needs to be. I mean, granted, they should respect you and cater to your insecurities and things like that. But as far as having the walls up and the red flags, it's not necessarily a red flag in itself, I don't feel like. But as far as how long it takes for it to come down, then I don't know, leaving that up too long, shoot, a nigga gonna get tired of trying to find, ways to get over that wall or break through it. But
Hey, the
yeah.
wall. I was gonna say something, but that might have got us canceled.
I'm weak as that.
First episode.
Right. But yeah, that's just my personal take on it.
I definitely feel like you said, if you're not reciprocating over especially after months of no problems, you know what I'm saying, of just straight a person trying to prove themselves, you know the I mean I mean it's true, a person can only keep trying and trying and trying and trying and trying for so long, you know.
Before it becomes
Um,
toxic.
yeah, and tedious.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the word of the day. Tedious. This whole
Tedious.
shit is tedious. This whole operation tedious as fuck.
But
Yeah.
but let's come back to the privacy versus secrecy, you know.
Right.
Being private about something and keeping secrets. Number one, what how can I phrase this?
Cooper. Hey. Calm down. Sit down.
Just rub stars of the show, you know what I'm saying? We're just here.
Yeah.
But let's say, for instance, what's something that you would feel like wouldn't be an issue about being private? Again, you brought up the example of something you were insecure about, but like you also said, that could be something they could pick up on, you know. Being private in the relationship, what are some things you feel like are good to be private about? You know, if say I rob banks on the side, you know, I'm being private about it because I don't want to bring you into their life. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, see that's real shit though. That's real shit. Because I mean, I feel like we both know with the different types of backgrounds that we have dealing with significant others, there's things that we may not have wanted our family business in on, or you know, in the case where you are involved in something like that, you wouldn't necessarily want to. I would hope that you wouldn't necessarily want to bring your. I mean, shoot, that may be some Bonnie and Clyde type stuff, but I mean, I would hope that you wouldn't want to bring your significant other in on. But I feel like that's valid. Like, shoot, especially, yeah, that's the final answer. I feel like that's valid.
Valid.
Yeah.
Valid. So a secret would say you were holding. Say in the relationship, right? Say you had a secret, a family secret,
Okay.
would be, you know, in the relationship it's zero secrets, or it's supposed to be zero secrets. But at what point do you cross those boundaries of trust with other people? You know, with your significant other, you know, is that still valid? Because in the relationship you don't want no secrets. Or does that fall along the lines of pillow talking?
With that, okay, so with some, okay, I'm gonna get this off my chest because I've been wanting to say this for a long time, right?
Let's sit up.
So, as far as families and being involved in relationships, that's old school, right? Like, you know, you get the blessing to marry and this and that. But for me personally, there's been people that I've gotten to know that have had some effed up family situations. There's been people that I've gotten to know that I feel were too close to their family, and there's been people who I've gotten to know who like are adequate. But me personally, if you're too tied in with your family, that's a turnoff for me. That, like, me personally, I'm not dating your family. That's not my problem. I get it, like the respect aspect of it, but me personally, I'm gonna leave. I'm not dating your family. You're not dating my family. I don't feel like if you want to get to know my family, that's cool. But I'm not finna force my family down your throat. Like, this is about me and you. Like, if I don't have a cool bond with your little brother, or I don't have a cool bond with your cousin, how does that dictate where we stand?
Gotcha.
That's how I feel personally about it. So I leave families out of it. Honestly. Okay. Past things, unless it's vital to you understanding how I operate, how my mind operates, and how my emotions are affected. Like, it may be some PTSD type stuff. I'm gonna let you. I feel like I will let you know that once we kind of reach that point where we're giving it, like we're letting each other in on those insecurities. I feel like that's something that I should tell you, because without that, there might be some blanks in the story, some missing puzzles as to you might question why I'm moving a certain type of way, or this is and that. So at that point, I feel like it'd be good to be forthcoming with that information. But if it's just some stuff where it's like in the past and it doesn't necessarily affect anything right now, I'm not gonna go out of my way to tell you. I'm not gonna withhold it from you. But if it comes up in conversation, then it comes up in conversation. That's not gonna be some stuff that where I'm like, oh, you need to know this. Like,
Yeah.
at that point, I'd be feeling like there's too many emotions where there doesn't need to be.
Yeah. First
Yeah.
date, like my family's a piece of shit. We're not going
Right.
to talk about them. And you probably won't see them
Exactly.
for a while. Let's move.
Yeah, my heritage is serial killers. Like, I don't, but yeah, that's where I feel. Don't even start. He's a loud ass drinker. Yeah, but yeah, that's kind of where I feel like it draws the line. But yeah, I still stand on what I said as far as like the secrets in relationships. I still don't feel like there should be secrets. Some people might disagree, some people might agree, but I personally, I don't feel like that's healthy.
So as
But
a as the partner, for somebody who is withholding something, like, do you feel it's okay to press those boundaries? Like say for instance, somebody is very private about their family life, or private about their friend groups or something. Like, how mm, how open would you expect in the relationship for them to be about those things before you feel they are keeping something secret? Like, is it okay to have those boundaries in the relationship? Like, if necessarily, like, in the first couple of months, I just don't want you to meet my friends, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm not sure where we are. Like, could that drive a person away, basically?
I feel like those are safety measures. Cause I mean, me personally, like, so for instance, like we were talking about, how we keep it private around the friend group. See, there's a difference between like me and you. I don't have friends. I consider you family. Like, there's family type shit, and then there's peer group type shit. So I'm not like, I know the type of energy that I want to uphold in my I'm gonna just say in my family. So I'm not gonna bring you around my family if I don't know what type of energy that you're going to bring to the table. Like, unless you're genuine, I know that you're genuine. Your insecurities won't harm or cause conflict within my tribe. Then I'm not really gonna bring you around them until I know that for sure. Until we're at that point to where we can bounce those insecurities off of each other type stuff. So I feel like that is a safety. There is a safety period before I do bring my significant other around my peer group or my family. Now, as far as like peers or people I just be around, like quote unquote friends, I wouldn't think too deep on that, me personally. Like, you could be around, and I mean, they should know me enough to where they would know, you know, when I'm bringing someone around and when I'm not. But I mean, I feel like it is safe. I feel like it is safe to not bring around. What you thinking on it?
I say, well, I mean, you brought up the safety measure. Like, I feel like it's very good to have boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? At the start of things, how how long do you feel? Well, you said until you were sure. So I guess that would really just be dependent on the relationship itself.
Yeah.
How would you feel about somebody being around and then just disappearing? Like within that time frame, like, would you poke at that at all? Like, say for
Like,
instance, somebody had a boundary up about a friend group, and then
okay.
you're wondering, and then all of a sudden they just are gone.
You're talking about your significant other is gone?
Not their friend group. Say for instance, they stop
Oh,
hanging out with them, and they never really let you in on why or what's going on. Would you hold that as a safety measure, or would you say that that's more along the lines of being secretive about something, like they had something to hide?
well, I don't trust nobody. So yeah, I'm gonna think
I mean,
I'm
I
gonna
believe
think that's I'm gonna think
definitely.
that's on some shiesty type of time, honestly. Cause I mean, why would they disappear? In my personal opinion, I'm like, if they're truly genuinely supporting you, there's no reason for them to disappear or feel salty that I'm taking your time. Nah, this is their life. Like, support them, be happy for them. But as far as them disappearing and stuff like that, I don't know, gang.
Is that cause for dismissal?
Yeah, I mean, and two, like, I feel like they should be okay with talking about their friends, like, because especially if it involves someone of the opposite sex, which I mean, we'll get into on another time, but like, um, I feel like they should be open with talking to me about their friends. I don't feel like that should be private, like unless there's some stuff like there's things that females talk about with each other that's, you know, they keep it between them. There's things that guys talk about that, I mean, it's not necessarily secrets either. It's just we just keep it between us. But I feel like if questions are asked, or if there might be you feel like you can feel the tension or some type of insecurities arising, you like, or even if like they give little what's the word, they give little indications that they're uncomfortable, you talk about a certain situation or a certain person, they just be like or, you know, little things you should be able to pick up on with your significant other. If you start to feel that, then I feel like you should clarify, just off rip, in order to save yourself from, you know, further arguments, from further questioning, from further insecurities to make shit worse between y'all. Let's just get that off the plate, off like clean. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like that should be as far as bringing your people, I mean, bringing them around your people. I feel like there is a grace period, we will say.
Yeah.
And as far as talking to your significant other about, you know, your peers and your family, stuff like that, I don't feel like there should be any secrets, not necessarily private, unless it's something that ain't got nothing to do with you. Yeah. Like, if it's a situation where your peer or your family member got into something and they're dealing with it, you can just be like, I don't feel like it's wrong to be like, I'm not speaking on it, me personally, because it's not no shicey type time. That's them. That's their life. They shared that with me in confidence. So that's not my business. That's not our business. We're not finna sit here and discuss them. That's how I view it. But different people might feel differently on it. But that's just me though.
Definitely, like inside jokes.
Yeah.
What's funny?
Yeah.
What's funny?
Exactly. You know? Yup. Gotta hit him with that squinted eye. Yeah. Yup, for sure. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's all over the place. People have, like I said, there's people with morals who have privacy versus, I feel like they have a healthy view of privacy versus secrets, versus people, you know what? I redact the statement that I said before. I feel like if you in your whole phase, if you out here thotting around in your little Honda Civic doing whatever you do, look, I feel like I don't feel like there is a difference between privacy and secrets, because I don't feel like you have the right, honestly. Yeah. Like, shoot, like, I don't know. Some people at the surrounding colleges might be that it's you know,
we're not saying anything, just HBCUs.
Nah, fuck that GHO this week. Niggas hit me up on that type of time. I'm like, bro, I'm good. I'm tired.
No, thank you.
Nah, I done heard folks talk about some this my soft girl era and whole life about to, you know. Never mind. I ain't even gonna get into that. But like, nah, it's people be on different type of time. No face, no case. After they say,
yeah, definitely along the lines of malintentions for sure. Your intentions are definitely not pure at that point. You know.
Nah, but yeah, that privacy versus secrecy. I'm not even gonna say hoes or thoughts. I'm gonna say people who are not looking for a relationship. I don't feel like they have the right to necessarily be able to dictate the difference between privacy versus secrecy. But how you feeling? You feel like there's a big difference?
I mean, my thing with privacy versus secrecy, especially within the relationship or about the relationship, you know, I feel like it all stands with the intentions behind why you are withholding the information, you know. Mm-hmm. Like either you're not saying too much because you're afraid of the consequences or or of what's going to happen, or how the other person's going to feel,
Yeah.
which could be more of deception, like deception, or you just genuinely, like you said, you have an insecurity about something, like you said earlier, what was it, your right butt cheek twitches or
Yeah.
whatever. Like I feel like along the lines, that's just being more private about
Right.
yourself, and withholding, personal information, which in the relationship I feel like it's not necessarily keeping things secret,
Right.
but whenever you're starting to trying to hide things, because of how the consequences could arise, like, you are not being honest with, or you're withholding information about this friend group
Yeah.
because you are, say for instance, like, um a man and a girl, right? They go out or whatever, and they run into the man runs into a girl he used to date or something. You know what I'm saying? And he introduces as a friend. You know what I mean? That could go along the lines that some people could see that being private about past relations or something, and other people could see it as being, secretive
Yeah.
about why
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
downplaying. You're downplaying the
Yeah. Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're afraid of that consequence. But
Right.
I feel like that's really
Hmm.
where I stand with the whole privacy versus secrecy. Is just, what are the intentions behind why you are withholding information?
That's true. That's true. And I feel like that's something that should be communicated up front with things like determining with, the other person, the boundaries as far as being private and secret behind closed doors and out in the public. But I also feel like it's crucial for you to know yourself and for you to really, really get to know your significant other. Because if you don't know yourself, you're not necessarily gonna know what you feel should be private and what you feel should be secret. Because you can get into something with somebody and whole time you don't really know yourself. So, but it's like you're learning yourself via trial and error. So it's like I feel like that's a real dangerous game to play because it's like something could happen and it's like it happened. It already happened. It's too late now. Like you you should have known yourself better than that. Like I feel like if you should know yourself before you really divulge into that because it's risky. It's a risky game. Like it could cause a lot of error that could have been avoided. So I
Gotcha.
feel like knowing yourself, that was pointless. I feel like knowing yourself and knowing your significant other play a big role. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot that plays a role in in relationships,
Yeah.
but knowing yourself, I feel like is very important because I feel like a lot of people don't know themselves.
That is very deep. That's a lot of people don't know themselves. That
Yeah.
that's 100% true.
And I mean, it's a constant thing. Like you're constantly growing, you're constantly learning yourself. You change every day, type shit. But knowing the foundation of yourself, you should know. Like you should be able to know. I know it's a cliche question. Everybody be asking, "Tell me something about yourself." That's like
Yeah.
that's the most painful, cringeful thing you can ask on a date or something like that. But it's like you wonder why so many people can't like you ask that question and I'm sure you've had plenty of instances where you've been like, tell me something about yourself. Quiet.
I like food.
Right, exactly. Like like basic shit. I'm like, oh really? Like no dip.
Yeah.
No dip. It's kind of crucial out here. But yeah, like I it's just like if it more because it's crazy because I've ran into some people where I've been like, okay, tell me something about yourself, and they'll be able to tell me something about themselves. And I'm like, okay, you know yourself. You have learned yourself to that extent to where you're like, okay, this is something I like about this. This is something I don't like about that. This is a pet peeve. This is a trigger. This is something. I'm like, yeah. But most people, they're like, oh, shit, man. Well, I like to roll up every now and then. Blah
Yeah.
blah blah. I'm like, okay, all
Yeah.
right.
Definitely.
I'm like, you didn't tell me what you thought. You just told me about yourself, but I learned something about you just then. Like, damn. But yeah. I feel like a lot of people don't know themselves, but I feel like that plays a big role in knowing yourself to know what you feel like should be kept private about yourself, sharing that with your partner, being vocal about it. Because if they're not the best at picking up social cues and they don't know you like you may hope that they do, then that might not be something that they know. So I feel like that communication is definitely vital as well. So
Communication is definitely vital.
yeah,
Do you think communication could turn a secret into, well, I guess the lack of communication could turn
A privacy into a secret.
into a secret?
100%. 100%. Because that that could like that could turn into an insecurity to where they're like, oh yeah, they not. But then it's like that honestly creates a wedge in between y'all, and that forms unnecessary tension in the air, to where you come home and as soon as something, you could be chilling, lovey dovey, holding each other, watching a movie. As soon as that nigga on the movie does something that happened in real life, you don't even gotta do nothing. You just feel something, and you feel, I don't know, you might feel her heartbeat a little too fast or something.
Yeah.
You be like, oh, here we go. Like, yeah. So it's a whole bunch of unspoken stuff sometimes. So I feel like that communication is important, honestly.
And well, how do you feel about maybe, somebody pushing that personal boundary? Like how could you clear up being defensive about something like that, where you could still, be private about those things, but not make it to where you are being secretive,
I feel like earlier on, you might need to approach it with caution, and just like taking their feelings like high key into consideration. I mean, you always want to take their feelings into consideration, but if we like that and we've been together for a minute, like, me, like, my ins and outs type shit, like, nah, I'm gonna get it out of you. I'm gonna get it out of you. Nah, if you want to spend the rest of your life with me, you got to deal with it. Yeah. Like, shoot, we gotta know each other to that extent. So me personally, I'm a straight shooter. Like, I'm a ask it how it should be, and I'm gonna tell you how it is. Like, yeah. Shoot, but yeah.
straight to the point. Like,
yep.
Like,
yep.
Uncomfortable questions.
Exactly.
Off the rip. Just know, if we're in the car on the way home from the first date, we're 20 questions, but they're all going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. I walk in the bathroom and I see that towel hanging up wet. I'll be like, did you wash your ass with the same one that you wash your face with? Like, like I'm a ask. I'm a find out. I'm a find out. But yeah. So honestly, I feel like we kind of got an idea for like I don't, shoot, we can't sit here and say this is what you should be private about, this is what is a secret. Yeah. But I mean, like we were saying, you really got to have that communication. You got to know yourself, you got to know your significant other, and shoot, you really just gotta, it's circumstantial and situational. Because I mean, whole life, you never know the other person. You could be dating a serial killer.
Yeah. And
then, like, whole time, I didn't even need to know your insecurities. Your insecurities, that's all I needed to know. Yeah. Like, shoot, that is all I needed to know. Oh, you use a knife, not a gun? All right, then, peace.
Yeah. That's serious.
Exactly. So, yeah, I feel like that's I feel like we covered the foundation of it pretty well. Unless there's, shoot, what am I missing? We lock it in pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because we touched base on how it's perceived within, being private or secret about the relationship, and being private and secret within the relationship. Yeah. Those are, like you said, they're both situational, and different people are gonna think different things. I feel like, my personal, I feel like it's just strongly based on why. Yeah. Why are you being private about that? Why mm-hmm. is that? Does that makes it a secret at that point if it's deception?
Facts. What are your intentions, my friend? But shoot, we hit everything behind the scenes. Yeah. All right. Well, sounds like we had a pretty productive pilot episode for This One's For Me podcast. Definitely look forward to the second episode, and we are signing out.